Once before, actually, I'd done a similar workshops with a colleague of mine, actually, Mars Degnan, who is in a similar vein of performing to me, writes, definitely speaks out loud, has that kind of humour spent to a lot of the writing, and we've worked together as well for shows. It's been a real influence on me. So we did some workshops for under 18s, just as kind of almost like an after-school activity. But this is the first time kind of solo for me, devising and running workshops for over 18s as well. And it's funny, it feels a little bit unorthodox maybe for an artist residency, because I'm not necessarily kind of displaying my poetry. If anything, I think the art form that I'm practicing is facilitation at the moment. So when people come into the workshops, what I'm trying to do, more than create poetry myself, is draw it out of people. And really the big idea I want to get across to people, particularly if they're unsure about writing or if they've never done it before, is that they can do it. The line I keep telling people is that if you have a capacity for language at all, you can write poetry. If you can speak, you can write poetry. If you can write, you're writing poetry. I think to kind of get away with that interjects of good poetry, bad poetry, skill and technique and form and all that is so subjective. I really like kind of, and it's something that's helped me in my own writing, is realizing, okay, for any possible rule of writing poetry, you will find a great poem that breaks that rule. So not to become, I guess, slaves to these should ideas of poetry should be this, poetry should be that. So really, they were kind of coming to our second workshop now. But the first week has been amazing. We had about 24 people in here, and great mix of people, just looking around the room. It is, yeah, and I think like one thing I did last week, right from the jump, is I had two of these lovely big sticky notes on the walls, and I had, with small little sticky notes, they could answer two questions, which were, what are you hoping to get out of these workshops, and what are you nervous, unsure about in writing and performing? And what I did as well is I answered those questions as well. So I said, okay, so here are some of the insecurities that are in the room. Yours might be in here, but I'm not going to, obviously we don't know who said who, so people are unsure about kind of being struck dumb with stage fright, or sharing something personal, or how interesting what they have to say is to the audience, or so and so and so and so. And I could read them out and say, okay, mine's in there too as well. So it sounds like you probably heard something, even if you didn't write it, that rings true to you. Just kind of take that normalization out of it. From that, I think it was just getting some like icebreakers and stuff, getting people used to the idea, I guess, giving them permission to be a bit silly, really. I think that's a bigger challenge, even when you have adults come into a room to write. There's all these ideas of kind of, I have to write something serious and worth listening to, and trying to get that kind of playfulness and that organic playfulness to it. So generally I'll be opening the workshops with some kind of workshop, some kind of silly thing that people, if they're coming from work or taking care of kids or whatever it is, permission to play, I think, is a really important prerequisite almost to writing, I think, that I hope to get across to people. I don't know, they've always kind of been connected in a strange way to me. I think like English was always my favourite subject in secondary school, and I remember thinking at a certain point that this isn't really about the language as much as about the psychology of the poets that we're supposed to be studying, about what's going, like I remember Elizabeth Bishop was a big one for us, and thinking about her relationship to the idea of home because she was taken away at a young age, and her relationship to alcohol, or The Great Gatsby, all these different characters and what's going on for their mental states. It was always for me more about putting yourself in the shoes of somebody else. So I think maybe that's the translation between why I love poetry and psychology, and in particular, I guess, psychotherapy as well, which is the current career trajectory, but that's another crossroads, I guess. I think it was in my final year, so what's that, 2021, seeing actually it was a poetry slam competition here. I was just working in retail at the time, and I remember a corker saying that it was on, and coming in, that was probably one of my first exposures really to spoken word poetry. So yeah, I think I wasn't fully aware, I guess, of how much was going on, and that's something that I grew more of awareness of, even just coming past and seeing art exhibitions open. Yeah, and it's been brilliant just since starting. I think the just to have a space, I guess, for an event like this, and to link in with Sarah as well as a kind of collaborator and as another member of the residency. Eva's been brilliant, is coordinating everything. So today I'll be kind of using that, because I often use prompts to get people writing. I'll be using some of Sarah's writing, Sarah's description of the piece and the piece itself, Caddis, just kind of inspire some things. We're hoping possibly to cross over to exhibitions for a showcase or for a pop-up exhibition. The exact form of that we'll discuss again, but I think there is a scope for this. I think the idea of, I know kind of big themes around Sarah's work are kind of that gathering, that collecting of experiences, which is very kind of similar to, I think, what's happening in the workshops as well, is people bringing their own, I guess, experiences, idiosyncrasies, all the rest of it into something greater than the sum of its parts. So yeah, I'm enjoying that, yeah.